How did 9/11 affect me? I had just started working at Jones not too long prior to it, and I was also working in an office here. And when it happened, I remember just focusing in on all the people in their offices and how they were just thinking it was a typical day at work. And it turned out to be such a horrific, awful event. And that really was present in my mind. And then throughout the hours that followed, the days that followed, the media, that was all that you saw on the media. And they would cover just images over and over. And some of the things that stuck in my mind were things like the falling men, the men and women who jumped from the buildings. And I just remember just seeing that over and over and how much that impacted me to a degree that I had to just turn off the TV. And I remember just going and laying in my bed and just crying, just thinking about how that option of to stay in this building that is burning or to plummet to your death. And that just seemed like such an awful choice to have to make as a human. And then I would just look around at my coworkers and think, I don't know how that we would manage that if we were in the same situation. And yeah, it was pretty awful. And then the kind of camaraderie of the nation and the unity afterwards that seemed to be present was something that I had not seen up until my life ever, which was, it was almost like what you hear about from your grandparents that they would talk about during, you know, specific war times. And so that I felt again in 2020 whenever the country was presented with the pandemic, and that sense of oneness and we're in this together type of thing definitely happened again. How do I think it's affected America as a society? It's been a long time, so much so that we are more removed from the experience. I actually used to teach when I talked about narratives, there's a documentary about, again, the fallen man, and I would show clips of it to my students to show that pictures can tell a story. And it hit me when I would have students in my classroom that weren't familiar with that or weren't familiar with 9/11 much, you know, and so I realized that the further and further we're getting from this period, we're having more and more people that didn't experience it, or at least not to the extent that people that were older like me that had jobs, you know. And so, yeah, I think that's what I see, is that it's definitely something that isn't as prevalent or talked about or even examined. And so I think that is just the true with anything. And it makes me think about other historical events that I kind of look back retrospectively of like, I can't really understand it or associate with it because I wasn't in that period. But yet 9/11 is like that for me. And when I see my students who basically would not have known it then either. So, but yeah, I think I'm glad that we're covering this at the anniversary of such a terrible time in our history, in our nation's history, and our world's history. But I think it also shows that with everything that happens, that humans are resilient, that there is a lot of good in humanity that can come from anything. And I think that is relevant here this year after the pandemic. Just even in that was in New York, but we can look at everything from, globally to just right here in our little JC community of how well people come together, even in horrible moments, and we really do try to make the best of it.